Hey, I wanted to hop on. I posted yesterday, for those of you who haven't seen it, and said I would do some videos to try to support everyone in getting through these really surreal, really crazy times right now. I know there's a lot of people who are experiencing a lot of different things, and it's kind of running the gamut, right? Regret, confusion, feeling lost, feeling super pissed off, even having these doubts and these worries and these concerns and all of these fears come up. And that is totally normal. And just my advice on that would be just to experience it. The saying that comes to mind is what you resist persists. So just experience it. Allow yourself the freedom to experience whatever you're feeling, whatever you're going through. So to dive a little deeper beyond that, as far as dealing with worry and regrets and doubts, and when your mind is just racing and you can't seem to turn it off, your mind is not you, it's just chatter. And it's important to realize that and walk away with the idea that you can take back control. You can really just kind of ask for whatever you want, in a sense. When you have those thoughts, when you have that worry, when you have those regrets, when you have all that negative chatter coming up, it becomes about really acknowledging it, because when you acknowledge it, it goes away, right? I was always that person in the past who would watch TV or would go drink or would go do whatever. And not to say I don't still do those things now, because there are times that I do. But when I would lay down, it would still come back. When I would go take a shower, it was there and it just didn't leave, right? As much as I tried to avoid it. So the key is really to acknowledge it and to say, hey, I recognize that you're trying to protect me. I recognize that you're trying to provide for me, because that's really what's happening. When you have those fears and it's not allowing you to move forward, when you feel paralyzed, it's protecting you from taking a risk, right? Like there's a part of you that recognizes that that's scary. Taking whatever action you're thinking about taking is scary. And so it's protecting you. And it's the same with worry and doubt and all of these other things, right? And so it becomes about asking for something else, saying, hey, thank you. I acknowledge you. I appreciate you're trying to protect me. You're trying to provide for me, but that's not going to help me right now. Can I get, some support? Can I get some uplifting insights? Can I get whatever you want to ask for? And for some people, it's not even that. Some people, it's just, thanks, I don't need this right now. I'm done. And you just think about something else. You do something else. And it'll come back up, and it's just continuing to repeat that, continuing to ask for what you need. As far as dealing with fears, that's kind of a different realm, right? When you're dealing with fears, when you're afraid of something, when you're finding, again, that you're paralyzed, that you're not wanting to take action, that your mind is racing and kind of downward spiral of what could happen, feed into that. Experience it. Say, okay, many of us are out of work. We're not making any money. It's a whole new world. So that's happened. So what's the next fear? What's the next thing that could happen? You can't pay your rent. Okay, so what if I can't pay my rent? And just think about what happens if you can't pay your rent. Well, I get evicted. Okay, and what happens when you get evicted? Well, I guess I move in with my parents. What happens when you move in with your parents? Well, they drive me crazy. Okay, and what happens when they drive you crazy? Well, I move in with a friend, and you just keep going through that question. What happens then? What happens then? What happens then? Until you get to a point where it's like, oh, well, that's not so bad. And it just alleviates a lot of that fear. Another thing I kind of wanted to dive into is like this concept of like all of this happening, all of this change, all of these things that are coming up, and how, it's resistance and fighting it, and we want to get back to work and we want to get back to doing things, and we're not appreciating the moment we're in, right? And I know it's hard to appreciate that this dramatic change has happened. And yet I would challenge you to find some appreciation in it. What can you do to show up for yourself? What can you do to, look at this as an opportunity? How can you strengthen your friendships? How can you get in better health? How can you really take the time for yourself that you don't normally do? That's what I'm doing. I am usually running from one thing to the next and not giving myself the time that I really want to. And so how can you find that time? How can you find value in this situation that we're all in? How can you provide that value to yourself? It's really a choice. And, it's really looking at, do I want to sit in panic and fear and frustration? How does that feel? Do you want to be there? Or do you want to look at how this is an opportunity and how maybe this is everything changes. Everything's already starting to change. How can you capitalize on that? How can you provide for yourself? So if you found this valuable, I would just like to hear any comments, any likes, anything so that more people can see it. And any questions you have, you can comment below or message me. It's up to you. I hope you guys have a good day. Thanks.